Bye.
Okay, welcome everyone to Introducing LMS Technology. My name is Mark Robertson, and with me today is Chris Lavager. Just like to have a quick show of hands as to who can hear us okay, and whether that sound is audible and you can clearly hear us. Quick show of hands.
Yep. We've got one, so that's all good.
Yep.
Yep, there we go.
So yeah, big welcome to everyone, and thank you for joining us today. This session will last approximately about 40 minutes, 40 to 45 minutes, and we'll be covering quite a bit of content today. But just an outline of the content, as you can see on your screen, is we're introducing the technology. We'll speak a little bit about who we are and who you are and why you're here. Then we'll go into what is an LMS system, what makes a good LMS system. Is it different from an LXP or learning experience platform, or an LCMS, which is the learning content management system? And what are the different types of LMS for market? We'll go into quite an extensive demo of Moodle, which is only one LMS, and we'll wrap it up with a bit of a summary and, of course, questions from you as well. So, yeah, just in the way of introductions, again, my name is Mark Robertson. I'm the Service Delivery Manager for eWorks. So if you don't know too much about eWorks, we're part of VetAssess. I won't go too much into that, but we have a variety of different clients, mostly in the TAFE sector, but also a number of RTOs and corporate clients. My role is to oversee our service level agreements. And quickly, I'd just like to introduce Chris.
Afternoon, thanks, Mark. I'm the lead LMS customer support at eWorks, so working with our current clients on a daily basis, helping them provide technical support, guidance, training, and advice on using their Moodle LMS.
Thanks very much, Chris. And more importantly, why are you here? We'd certainly like to think you're very interested in the topic, but we'd like to understand a little bit better why you're here, and we can tailor our presentation accordingly. So feel free to put up your hand or speak out.
I'll just put it in as a question, and then we'll just
put
tick
it
it
in
off.
as a question. Yeah.
Bit shy.
Bit shy, but that's okay. I mean, we'll cover these main topics, and you can sit back and just relax, and we'll do most of the talking. But if at any time you have any queries or questions, please don't feel that you have to just listen. You can certainly interject and ask questions along the way. Okay, so let's go straight into it. What is an LMS system? The best way to describe an LMS system is visually, and Chris will be doing, as I said, a bit of a demonstration later on. But an LMS system basically is a learning management system. So what do we mean by a learning management system? Well, basically, it's software that helps you create, manage, organize, and deliver online learning materials to learners. Different people have different ideas of what a learning management system is. Some people think it's simply just a collection of folders, but it isn't. It is a fully immersive, engaging, and interactive experience. So in terms of what makes a good LMS system, well, a good LMS system really has a number of different components. Firstly, they have to be interoperable and integrative. In other words, they have to marry with different systems through various technology protocols. But if your learning management system is set up so that it can talk to your student management system, or an e-commerce platform, or a CRM system, then that's what I mean by interoperable and integrative. A good LMS system also is personalized to the learner, so that when a learner first comes into the learning platform, it's personalized entirely for them. That is, that they see the courses that they're enrolled in, that they have a meaningful relationship with the content and also other people in the course, as well as the facilitator. A good learning management system also has analytics. That is, at the back end of the system, it has reporting functions so that you can determine who's in the learning management system, but also their engagement with the various courses. So that engagement can be measured in a number of different ways. The time they've spent in a course, for example, but also how they've completed a course, in what time frame, what they've clicked on, what quizzes they've completed, what forums they've participated in, what videos they've watched, for example. So definitely the analytics is an important component of a good learning management system. Next is communication. So there are various tools and different learning management systems to communicate within a group, that is the group of learners, but also other tools that communicate to the facilitator, of that course or courses. Other learning management systems incorporate social media as well. So communication obviously is very, very important in a good learning management system. And finally, accessibility and universal design. So what I mean by accessibility is that for those learners that may be visually impaired or hearing impaired, a good LMS system makes use of accessibility standards. That is, it presents the content in such a way that it is easier for those visually and hearing impaired learners to learn. And there are various ways that we can do that, or that LMS system can do that. And finally, universal design. What I mean by that is that the design of the content itself and all the courses within a learning management system are professionally designed by an e-learning or instructional designer or e-learning author using different e-learning authoring systems. So is it different from an LXP or LCMS? Yes, it is. It is, because an LXP, and an LXP has only recently come on the market in the last few years. It stands for Learning Experience Platform. Typically, a learning experience platform is entirely learner-centric, personalized to a learner, but not necessarily have all the administration functions of a learning management system. An LCMS, on the other hand, stands for Learning Content Management System, mixes two systems, that is a content management system, as well as a learning management system. So there are various content management systems in the marketplace, and to combine that with a learning management system, you get your LCMS. So moving on, what is the different types of LMS in the market? Well, there are many different LMSs in the market, and broadly they can be categorized under three areas. That is the cloud-based LMS, software as a service, open source LMS systems, and bespoke systems. So software as a service or cloud-based LMS systems is predominantly what you'll find in the marketplace, hosted by a provider. They're a plug-and-play platform. They typically are very large and very well established. So, for example, in the marketplace, we have Moodle, Desire to Learn, Canvas, Blackboard. These are just some of the few larger players in the LMS market at the moment. I mentioned Moodle. Moodle is an open source platform. In fact, I believe it's its 18th birthday, so it's been around for quite some time. open source, that it's free to use, though even though it is free to use, you still need some particular skill in the design and the development of that resource. And finally, bespoke, that is, it's tailor-made. Now, some organizations go down this path and tailor-making their own LMS system. And I've been involved with a couple of different organizations that have done this. Usually it's very long and very expensive. These systems typically built and maintained in-house, or they're outsourced to a development team. Sometimes it's a bit of a mix between in-house and the development team. So that's a broad overview of the different types of LMS systems in the marketplace. And I mentioned Moodle before, and Moodle is quite a large presence in the marketplace, and there are many different advantages of using Moodle as a LMS platform, not only from an educational point of view, but from a corporate point of view as well. So what I might do now is just throw it over to Chris to give us a bit of a demo of Moodle.
All right, thanks, Mark. Pop over and share my screen here. Bear with me 2 seconds. There. All right, you can see the screen all right there. Thank you. All right, so just going to give you a quick little run through of a Moodle example site. Won't have time to go through all the detail there, but I'll give you guys a bit of a snapshot of what an LMS can look like. As Mark previously mentioned, Moodle is open source, so that means there's no limit to the customization that you can do onto your site. And having a look at all our clients' LMSs that we host, each and every one of them are very different in the way they're set up and run, which is a good thing. You can tailor it to your organization. So this is our front page, our landing page that students would see when they join in. As you can see, we've customized it with our banner. We've got our logo there as well. So you can tailor this to your organization. Once you go to login, once again, you can also tailor this. We've got our logo there. We've got our theme color there. You can also add background images onto the page as well. And then once you're in, you've got your preferred landing page as well, which is similar to our first page there. You can also have students go straight into what Moodle calls a dashboard. And then in there, this can be customized. So for us, we've got their 2 courses that they're enrolled in. There's a timeline, so they'll be able to see, if there's anything that they've got deadlines on. So as an example, assignments or any activities that need to be completed by a certain date. We've got the calendar there, so it's a good way for them to keep track of what's going on and what needs to be done as well. So going to pop over into an example course here. In Moodle, we have what we call themes. So a theme is basically what you want your course to look like. And at the moment on the screen, you can see we're using the Boost theme. So Moodle by itself comes with Boost and Classic out of the box. We also offer Snap theme as well as an additional one included free for all our clients. So it's basically for you to choose the way you want your users to experience the UI, so the interface as they're traveling through their courses. Within the themes as well, then you've got the course format. So the format is the way you want your content to be displayed and how students would navigate through the content offered. So for an example, the one we've got on the screen here, this is the tiles format here, and we'll spend a little bit of time going through that in a minute. But I'll pop over and show you another format over here. And this one is the Boost theme, but also a format called One Topic, where you've got these tabs, so students can navigate through the tabs at the top. They can also navigate through the course index on the left-hand side. I'm just going to pop back over to the first course. That's our demo one. So within, as I said before, I've used the tiles one just to make it a little bit more easier to navigate through. We've got quite a lot of different things you can see within this course. First one we want to look at is content delivery. So how can you deliver the information through your course and share that with your users? So a page is probably the most common one. So think of that as basically giving all that information on one screen for them to be able to go through. So nice and easy to be able to put your images, you can add videos, audio files, whatever you need there. It's a good way to put a decent chunk of information there. If, for example, you've got quite a lot of content that you want to go through, you don't generally want students to be scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. So the other option you can do is a book. So within the book, you basically can have your content into certain chunks and break that up so it's a nice little flow. So we've got, the first page here. I'll click on next. We've got some more information there, and the students can kind of go through back and forward as needed. You can also use the drawer on the right-hand side to see the chapters and be able to skip ahead or go back and forward as they need. Popping back to the start. So additionally, you can also add files, so upload some PDFs, additional documents that you want to share with your students. Very easy to do that. You can link them to external links as well, go back to your website or other websites where they can continue their research as well. So it's very easy to add additional content within your page. In terms of student engagement, so obviously the key part of an LMS and trying to keep students engaged in going through and working through the content, there's quite a few different ways you can work through this. So first one is a choice. So you can kind of pose these questions as they're going through the content. A good way for teachers to kind of just recall and check with students, check in, see how they're going, add these little questions as they go through, and they can add their choice easily and feed that back to their teacher, and their teacher can be able to monitor that and intervene as needed. Additionally, we'll move on to some other options. We've got a lesson. So lesson is basically similar to a book that we looked at before, but within a lesson, you can start adding in some additional activities in there. So rather than just having content, you might want to add in a quiz in there to be able to test them on the content as they're going, rather than testing them on content at the end of the cycle. So if we have a look here, we'll just pop over here. Let's go back to the start. So we've got our content here. And then as you see, if once I scroll down, I've put in a question in there for them to attempt as they go through. The next activity is a quiz. So quiz is a really good way to test their knowledge, see how they're going with the content, make sure they're understanding the concepts as they're going through. Quizzes can be graded, or it might just be a learning component for them to be able to just check how their understanding is going. And there's a lot of variations within the quiz. As part of Moodle 4, you can now add a timer in there too. So they'll be able to keep track of how much time they've got left, if that's included. You've got your multiple choice, very easy to add in your multiple choice questions. There's matching, so you can get them to match over content from there. And there's essay questions, short answer questions, true and false. So there's quite a few different options there you can do to create that quiz, and then decide whether you want it graded or just get them to work through, see their results, go again if not. So you can set some barriers in terms of how they pass through the content. Hop back over to the start. You can also add in surveys. So surveys are predefined questions, or you can add in feedback. So feedback is your customized surveys. So you can ask them questions, see how they're going, and also feed that back to the teachers to monitor there. So we had one question before, but this one can be multiple questions that you can go through. Feedback's generally used maybe at the end of a course once you've completed it, to get some feedback on how it went, improvements, what they liked, and so on. SCORM. So SCORM stands for Shareable Content Object Reference Model. Basically what this is being able to take external content that you make elsewhere and bring that into your Moodle site with ease and integrate it well. Mark mentioned before, one of the key parts of an LMS is that interoperability, and SCORM is one of those packages that allows this. So I'd like to think of it, I guess a good way to describe it is think if you need to write some words, create a document on your computer, you're generally going to use Microsoft Word, and then Word would save that as a .doc file. So as long as you've got that .doc, you can open that in Word, Google Docs, or generally any other word processor. Basically, that's what you're doing with a SCORM. You're saving it in a language that Moodle or Canvas or any of the other LMSs will be able to understand and display. So generally, probably one of the most common external resources people use is Articulate. So you've got Articulate 360 and Rise and so on. You can create some really good content from there and then bring that into your Moodle LMS. And I can show you an example, just a little basic example. So this is some content that's created in Articulate. There we go. There we go. So you can see we've got the information. It's broken up into different little chunks. You've got your little topics on this side here. You can add little extra on. So if you've got some images, you can add little tags so they can click through and get some more information. And then they've also got a quiz there with some questions. And you can get it set up so those quiz questions, the results can get fed back into your Moodle LMS and see those results and have them marked as well if needed. Oops, where is the page? And the last one that we're going to look at just in terms of student engagement, there's many more options, but these are probably the key ones, is H5P. So H5P stands for HTML5 package. So it allows you to create engaging content within your Moodle LMS. This comes free within your Moodle site. And you can create quite a lot of different activities within your page just to get that engagement and keep those students clued in onto your site. So as an example, we've got a little drag and drop activity that you can create here with some words. You've got your usual multiple choice. With this, we've got a drag and drop with a picture. So you've got the content here, and I can grab it and drag it along to a picture and try and define it there. There's quite a lot of different activities as well. You can add a video and then add questions within the video. So it will stop at a certain point. They need to answer the question correctly to move on and continue watching the video as well. So H5P is definitely a really good one. It's nice and easy to create content that you need and then be able to just embed it in your course. So that's the student engagement. We can also look at in terms of keeping students, keeping track of students. You've got an attendance built in, so there's a plugin where you'll be able to teachers can jump in and mark attendance of students. Students be able to see their attendance as well. So they can keep track and see how they're going, and talk to their teachers if there's any issues as well. And an additional plugin that you can get as well is called the scheduler. So you can set aside time that students can book in. So, if they're struggling, or maybe they just want to be able to talk to their teacher about a particular thing, they'll be able to jump onto here and say, okay, on Friday, these are the following slots that my teacher's available. I can easily just book into the slot, and then that will send a notification to my teacher, and my teacher can set up the meeting face-to-face. Then they can just lock that in, or they could send a meeting via Zoom or Teams, or whichever one they're planning to use. In terms of the social aspects, you can look at a few of the different activities. You've got a forum. So a forum is a bit of an avenue for them to be able to talk to each other. It can be teacher-led, it can be student-led, it could also be graded as well. So you could have it as a hurdle within your course that students need to submit or post a response in the forum before they would pass their course. You've also got the chat function as well, so you can add a chat activity where they can talk to their peers as well. Assignments is quite big in terms of students working in an RTO space or in a learning space. So with our assignments, you can set them up so students can either usually upload a document, so they might do their workings from a document that you provide to them. You can do it via text, so they can easily just enter their response straight into the LMS. You've also got the options where they can upload a video. They can also upload audio too. So if you're in a multimedia organization and you want them to be able to just upload straight video they created, or even, a video of them answering a question, you can easily do that straight away in your course. So we've got the virtual classrooms as well. So you can integrate if you have a paid Zoom license, you can easily integrate those sessions into your course, and students can just log into your LMS and go straight to their class. Don't need to have login details or remember the Zoom ID to be able to log in. It's all indirect. If you don't have a Zoom license, one of the key features of Moodle 4 is a big blue button, which is a free video conferencing software. So you can get that with 60 minutes maximum session for free and up to 25 users. So that comes within your Moodle site straight off the bat. On to certifications. So being able, obviously, to certify your students or give them something to show that they've completed a course is definitely a key thing these days. They want to be able to prove basically they've finished their course, be able to pass that on, or even include it with their resume as an idea. So you can create your certificates, customize it to your organization, add images and logos, and Moodle will automatically filter the data that's needed. So as an example, here's a little basic one that we've created off the fly. We've got our template there. Moodle automatically populates my name. So I'm my account student 3. Will automatically populate the course that I'm studying. It's got the date that I did it. So I did this course yesterday. And it's got your unique verifying code too. So each certificate will have its own unique code to verify that that's a genuine certificate. Alternative is badging. Badging is also quite popular these days. So you can set up your little badge in your course and have that set up. So once a student finishes a certain aspect of your course or finishes the course completely, they get allocated their badge straight away. And if we have a look over here, yep. So we can see I've got my Moodle quiz completion badge there. If I click on that, I can see what the criteria was, what I had to do, and I can easily download that and then share it on, a lot of people like to share it on social media, share it on their LinkedIn, if it was a micro-credential as an example, to share that with their peers. And the last one on this page we're going to look at is collaboration. So a really good tool here is the glossary. So a few years ago, I was teaching ESL, LCMS, and a really big part of the learning is to always get students to write down, you know, those words that they've learnt. So be able to remember it, especially in their own words, that definition, and then revise it as they go. A glossary is a really good way to do this as a class. Students can add in words that they've learnt, put in their definition, and then it will populate for everyone to see. So by the end of the course, you'll have a really nice glossary list of content that students have created. And they easily do it by just going to add, put in the word. So let's say, in this case, it was industrial. They would put in their definition in there and just click on save. Nice and easy. So in terms of just a quick general overview of Moodle, that's a little guide there as well. If it's something that you're interested in, we're happy to give you some access to these kind of example courses for you to play around and get a bit of a feel of how Moodle works as well. And the last one I just want to show you in terms of what Mark mentioned earlier in terms of analytics. Analytics is definitely important to track your students' progress, intervene when needed, and also provide those results that you kind of need to track, and for RTO purposes in particular, or for whoever in the organization needs that information. One of our partners is called IntelliBoard, and this is in collaboration into your Moodle site. There's quite a lot of different reports that you can produce straight off the bat from them. And I'll show you a quick example here. So this is called their learner success and progress. So within this particular report, which is completely customizable, I can see I've hidden the student names for privacy, but you'll see the student's name, the course they're doing, when they started, their enrollment, what their progress is like, what their grades are sitting at, how many activities are completed. Page views is also important to see if they're constantly interacting, how long they're spent in the course. We can look at participation and last activity. So there's quite a lot of different reports you can gather out of this analytics software to be able to keep track of progression, grades, activities, also seeing which activities are heavily used, which ones are not as well. So it's a good way for you to keep track of your courses and see maybe what needs to be changed or what's working really well. And I think that's it for me. Happy to take some questions if there's any questions.
Yeah, thanks very much, Chris. That was a really great overview. But yeah, bit of a summary so far. So, you know, we started off by saying, you know, what is an LMS system? We define that. And then what makes a good LMS system? You know, that is, it's interoperable, that integrates with different systems, that it is personalized, that it has the analytics, that you can see what's going on behind the scenes. It has the communication functions, and finally, it has the accessibility for different learners as well. It's different for an LMS, it's different from an LXP, and that the LXP is a learning experience platform that is very much student-centered, and that it doesn't have all the administrative functions of an LMS. LCMS, Learning Content Management System, combines a content management system as well as an LMS. Different types of LMSs in the market, that is software as a service, cloud-based software, and open source, as well as bespoke software. Different types of the major players in the market at the moment, definitely Moodle, definitely Canvas, Design to Learn, Blackboard. All those are very good LMS providers. And of course, we showed you a bit of a demo and some of the functions within the Moodle LMS. Yeah, so completely open to questions. Please feel free to raise your hand, whatever in the chat, or just ask.
Yeah, and just addressing, Adam mentioned earlier in the webinar that he was keen to see other people's perspectives on various LMS platforms too. So if anyone has any perspectives on that, feel free to share. But from my own personal experience, look, I think I probably used Blackboard back at uni days, but I've had quite a few years experience with Canvas, and now mainly Moodle. End of the day, it's like buying a car. Every car is different. It depends on your needs and what you want. There's pros and cons for each LMS out in the market. And obviously the costs and stuff vary out in the market too. But yeah, they're all good in their own ways. There's not one that is bad, as an example, but it just depends on what your organization needs are and just making sure it can meet it. Having an open source LMS, whether it's Moodle or the other varieties out there, does give you that greater level of customization, either if you're techie or you'll be able to get people to assist you to write code to get exactly what you need within your solution too.
Yeah, so yeah, please feel free to email us directly at eWorks. Katie Croy is our head of business development. You can email her directly at sales@eworks.edu.au, or alternatively, just phone eWorks and ask for one of the consultants, and they'd be very happy to talk to you. Just a big shout out for our next webinar, which I believe occurs on May the 18th, and it is microlearning. So the microlearning webinar covers aspects considering when assessing the value of microlearning for business. So microlearning, short little chunks of learning. And the webinar will be delivered by our content development team. So we really look forward to that one on May the 18th. Again, thank you very much for attending this webinar, and thank you very much, Chris, for sharing the Moodle environment and what you can do in the Moodle environment, which is quite extensive. Yeah, thank you very much, everyone, for your time, and we look forward to seeing you again very soon. Thanks again.
Thank you. Have a good afternoon.
See you.
Bye.